Good afternoon, everyone. In these days of the viral epidemic and our being cooped up at home and in our apartments and houses, we're feeling our freedoms are being curtailed by this strange disease. So I thought it might be good to take a minute and reflect on the nature of freedom and what happens when we take it for granted. For example, most people think that it's a free country. You can do what you want. But actually, there are a lot of things that do constrain our freedom that we don't even think about. For example, you can't drive on the road anywhere or any way or however you want, unless you don't value your personal safety and time in jail. There are also minimum standards and laws for how you can treat your minor children and even your animals and livestock. In many parts of the country, you cannot build anything on your property because there are zoning restrictions and covenants and subdivisions and building codes. These are all things that would fly against our natural tendency to do whatever we want because it's a free country. But real freedom demands effort and personal sacrifice, and not just on the part of the military and first responders. When the requirements of virtuous citizenship, such as truly informed voting, protesting injustice, and demanding equality and treatment, when those things are no longer important or deemed important by the citizenry, then the conditions of ancient Rome in the first century before the Common Era, those conditions will resurface again. In Rome, around 123 BC, a populist politician began what's called the grain dole, of giving free wheat to citizens in exchange for their political support. Much later, the spectacle of circuses began in the Roman Colosseum and elsewhere. Wild animals from Africa entertained the masses. And after the fire in Rome in 66 AD, Emperor Nero would torture Christians as part of that circus act. The phrase bread and circuses was used by a Roman poet to describe the sad devolution of his society. Wikipedia defines it this way: the phrase bread and circuses means to generate public approval, but not by excellence in public service or public policy, but by diversion, distraction, or by satisfying the most immediate or base requirements of a populace by offering a palliative, for example, food or bread in the case of the Romans, or entertainment, circuses in their case. Now, lest you think this ancient Roman situation does not apply today, some scholars have suggested that contemporary Western culture simply replaces bread and circuses with consumerism and professional sports. As Christians, we need neither bread nor circuses for our freedom and peace. The book of James tells us what true religion should be. Quote, "Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to care for the orphan and the widows in their distress, and to keep oneself unstained by the world." Have a blessed week.